Welcome to the Pearl Report. I'm Diana Lin. Private recreation clubs occupy prime land worth hundreds of millions of dollars but pay a nominal rent. They're relics of colonial policy. Now that their leases are again up for renewal, producer Diane To looks at whether some clubs still serve their purposes and if all clubs should be more open to the public.
This is what we call is a net practice. The batsman, this is the batsman here, and the bowler is bowling.
Little Saiwan Cricket Club has been around for almost half a century. It's putatively produced many of Hong Kong's top players.
This is Nazakat. He's a key contributor as a batsman and a bowler to the Hong Kong national squad. And his future looks very good. This is Tabarak Dar. He has been ex-captain of cricket of Hong Kong, played Asia Cup back in 2008 against two international matches against India and Pakistan.
Just in early July, the Hong Kong Cricket Association named its new under-19 squad. Half of the team are from Little Saiwan Cricket Club. While cricket is not a mainstream sport in Hong Kong,
it is growing every year. We're getting larger and larger numbers of people. We're in the schools, we're in Chinese schools. The trouble is, if we had more grounds, it could become a more mainstream sport. We had a ground at an area called Little Saiwan. It was a very beautiful ground. We lost that ground some 25 years ago for redevelopment by the Hong Kong government. And since that time, our club has been a nomadic club, no permanent place to exist from.
Tony Turner has been applying to the government for grounds.
All we can do is pay a small amount in peppercorn rent, and then we would put $1 million or more into flattening it, growing the grass, and putting in the pitch on which we play.
But it's been tough sledding.
So I think there's some confusion in the government mind. There are two major cricket clubs in Hong Kong, and they have grounds. And I think the feeling is that enough for cricket.
Hong Kong Cricket Club and Kowloon Cricket Club, with their cricket lawns, are private clubs requiring membership referrals, at least $100,000 joining fees, and queuing in lengthy waiting lists. There are two of the 73 clubs in Hong Kong granted land at zero or a lump sum $1,000 land premium under the government's private recreational lease. The clubs continue to pay rents of between $100 and $1,000 until about 2 decades ago, when the amount for most clubs was raised to 3% of their rateable values. Private recreational leases were first issued more than a century ago.
The government did not have much resources, so they hope that by using this type of granting a piece of land to private clubs, they can urge the clubs to build the land for recreational and sports use. The government did not need to pay a cent for having these facilities.
55 of the private recreational leases, or PRLs, will expire in between this and next year. Lawmaker Tanya Chan is trying to get the Home Affairs Bureau to review conditions before granting another 15 years of precious land for cheap.
It's not a simple review because they need to take into consideration of the terms and the nature of the clubs. At the same time, the future plans of sports of Hong Kong, and also needs to look into the facilities in that community.
A review in the late 70s recommended the then 10-year leases be up to 15 on the condition the clubs lend their facilities to non-profit organizations for 3 sessions of 3 hours per week. The leases we looked at don't specify whether the clubs can charge these outside bodies to use their facilities, but they do stipulate that
any miscellaneous charges, including the cost of electricity, gas, water, electrical equipment, shall be paid by such body.
The Home Affairs Bureau admitted to us it doesn't keep a record of which clubs opened to whom, when and how much they charged. Tanya Chan says that's unacceptable.
The Home Affairs Bureau, they should and they must keep a proper record of all these activities and events.
In a LegCo panel meeting on July 8th, the Home Affairs Bureau promised to step up monitoring work and add a clause in new leases to
require PRL lessees to submit a quarterly report on their records of opening up to outside bodies.
Tony Turner says the private cricket clubs do open their grounds to other cricketers, though it's mostly when they host competitions.
The pressure from outsiders now is so great that these private clubs cannot absorb many more outside activities. So we've got now in our club probably several hundred players who are not members of those clubs and cannot get into those facilities when they want to.
Instead, Little Saiwan cricketers train at another of these private clubs, India Club in Jordan, Kowloon.
The external clubs can book their training facilities, and then they can come to play at a specified time.
India Club charges $100 for daytime usage and $250 at night.
India Club has become a little bit of a headquarters for us.
The facility here, it is quite sufficient for the training of the kids at this moment, but not on that level where we would want to see to go further.
India Club says it was formed by Indians in Hong Kong about 60 years ago as the Kowloon Indian Tennis Club. It has both Chinese and Indian members today who are set to join for the club's international standard tennis courts. The club paid $1,000 in land premium and about $58,000 for this year's rent. It has an Indian restaurant and outdoor barbecue area. The club's president says only members and their guests can dine there, but a food review website says it's open to the general public. One land grant condition states,
the grantee shall not use or permit the use of the lot for commercial purposes.
It's quite difficult to define precisely whether it's commercial activities or not. If the restaurant is simply a restaurant that open for the public, then I think the relevant department needs to look into the matter.
The place does not look like a Filipino club. I don't see any sign.